Hi, and so welcome to this course, this Python programming course. We start in April 2024. My name is Gabor Sabo, as you've seen in my email and probably in the syllabus of the course. I turned off the camera because, as I mentioned just before the video, it seems that the Zoom recording, when I include my video, it puts the screen, my picture twice on the screen and hides some part of the screen. So, well, it will be just my voice in this case. If you want to say anything or comment anything, please do comment. I'm just going to check now the chat. I don't know if you can see this chat now, but I rarely notice when someone writes in the chat. Okay, so if you have some comment, please open your mic and speak. Okay, so I can hear you, because I won't be able to see if you raise your hand or comment in the chat or whatever. And I'm also usually I use multiple screens, but because I have to show something in Windows, and this Windows doesn't like very much these multiple screens in with this computer. So I had to turn off the other screen. So I only have a small screen, and I only see whatever you see, basically. So that's a little bit of administrative thing. So I sent an email a week ago to most of the people, and a few people who joined the course later. I sent it later. That included a couple of things, including the link to this Zoom channel. And the link to this page that you can see now, it's on a website called GitHub. I'll explain what this is, but and you're going to use it extensively, so that's also what you can see in this. We call this a repository. Okay, so on GitHub there are users, and each user can have multiple repositories. So this repository, this subgob, this is my user. And this is the repository that I created specifically for this course. And in there are basically two files. One of them is the README, which is what automatically is being displayed also here. So the content of this file is also displayed here. And right now, what you can see here is the schedule and some meta information about the course. I'm also going to include notes here on this page. So I'll have to open an editor to add some more notes about the course. The videos I bring recorded, they will be on YouTube, and they will be linked from this page. Okay, so you will be able to access the videos. About a couple of things here. So I said, I wrote here that there are going to be assignments. We have 10 meetings. After each meeting, you will get some assignments. According to the current plan, all of your assignments you're going to submit via this GitHub thingy. So I'll have to show you how to use it. And some of you might know how to use it already, or some of you might encountered it, but many of you probably not. So you will have these assignments. And then towards the end of the course, you will start doing a project, and then you will have a couple of weeks after the last session we have to finish the project. The idea is that during the assignments, I gave you all kinds of tasks that some of them might came from students, so they might be more relevant, but mostly they are very abstract, nothing really directly to do with what you actually need to do. The project, on the other hand, should be something that you that's individual to you, that's important to you some way. Preferably, it will be something from your studies. So most of you or all of you are in some lab, and in that lab you have some experiments, and some of the experiments either have data or create data or need data or create data. And then beyond wet experience, you'll also have a lot of number crunching. And probably that's part of the reason you're here in the course. So the project should pick up something that you need in the lab and work on that project. It might be something that you start from scratch. It will be probably the best if you start something from scratch, but sometimes people can also make additions to existing projects. But then it's a little bit harder to evaluate what you did. So it's much better to start something from scratch. So most of the students in previous courses really picked up things that they needed in the lab. There were some students who, for various reasons, didn't find anything in the lab or in neighboring labs. So you maybe just go and find some friends in another lab and help them. And they made various other things that were also interesting and probably useful for them, or at least fun. So some people made games. And here you can see, let me see this. There are two lists here, one of them in this one. Oh, yeah, just a second now. GitHub. Okay. This is the trouble with a single screen, that the bar of Zoom hides the upper part of the screen, or whatever, wherever I put it, but by default it hides that. And I think it's better if it hides the upper part. Anyway, and then I can't click on these ones. Now I can. Okay, so this is one of the links where I recorded basically this course, but about like 3 or 5 years ago. I recorded it with someone. And since then the course changed, so probably it's better to follow the videos that we are recording now. But here you can find a number of videos that I made after the courses, whatever courses we had, with some of the students. 4 of them are in English, 2 of them are in Hebrew, where they explain basically whatever they did. One of them was actually getting started with Git that we're going to go over now. So you can get ideas from projects on this page, watching those videos. And the other one is this page, which was the repository of the course, the same course that we are learning now, last semester. That was also, or rather this one is going to be slightly different than that one. So here you can also find all the videos somewhere, I guess, if you go into this the folders of each day. But what is more important or more interesting probably here is that you can find here all the students that participated in the previous course and their projects. Okay, so here you can find most of them. I think there are a few that they have private repositories because the project is not public yet. But most of them were okay publishing whatever they did, because that wasn't that critical to hide it. And that's much better, because then everyone can see it, and that's really nice. So this is similar to what we're going to start doing with you as well, this page. But what you can come here and you can look at all kind of things that the students did. Here, in this case, I allowed people to do in couples. Even some people did in 3. I will consider this. I'm not sure if I want to do this again this year or this semester, or if you ask you to do it alone. But anyway, you can get ideas of projects. Okay, so you can already start thinking about, okay, what kind of project you would like to do, and you can even start working on the project. But before you work on the project, you need to send me a proposal, and I'll explain how do you do this. But basically, you could also start right from the beginning once you learn a little bit about Python. Some people I know have some background in Python. Okay, and the grades, you saw that each assignment will get some percentage, and the project gets 35%. And one note, despite it being only 35%, I mean, most of you probably want most of the part of it, but it's a requirement. Okay, so if you don't do the project, even if you did everything 100%, it's still you're not passing. So in this course. because that's the main thing about this course. I think that you do something with whatever you learned. There are some slides that I used in the first recording that I mentioned, and I used for many times. Maybe we'll get to these slides here and there, but I'm mostly going to just show you stuff, and you will be able to get to these things. And then these are the same link, the same recordings. Yeah, these are the recordings, and there are videos in English and some videos in Hebrew I recorded. And yeah, that's it. Okay. Any questions about the administrative things of the course? Again, I would like to repeat that because it's not a classroom and I don't see you, I won't see when people are like starting to not understand things. That in a class you can feel much better. So if you do feel that you don't understand, just understand that probably means that some other people don't understand. So just speak up, okay? Because you will help those other people at least, and definitely will help yourself if you ask me and make me explain things. So today we will probably not touch programming yet. We're going to use we're going to learn about Git and GitHub, which is a tool that basically every programmer and even people who are not programming should use, because it gives a huge advantage over those people who don't use this. So Git is the most popular version control system today. There are many other version control systems, but Git is the most popular one, and GitHub, this website that you're seeing now, is the most popular hosting for this Git system. Now, what is a version control? Think about that. I'm quite sure that you had already, I don't know, wrote some paper, and then you had some version of it, and then you sent it to, I don't know, someone to review, and you saved it in the disk, and maybe put the file name, change the file name to copy that file on your disk to some folder, and then put the date on the name of the file, or change, or you said it's the first version, or it was sent to, I don't know, whoever you sent it to. And then as you went on and worked more on the file, then later on you might had a new version of this file, and then you saved it again with the date and so on. And basically what you did is version control, okay? So you wanted to make sure that you will be able to somehow go see how did your file look like, I don't know, a month ago, or when you sent it to someone. And so this is basically manual version control. And this people do all the time, and whatever they put on the file names, they sometimes make the file names show the date, sometimes 1, 2, 3, whatever. The big problem with this is that you can't really, it's sort of expensive. You always have to think about it. Okay, now I'm saving it and I'm putting it aside. You have multiple copies of these. It becomes a mess, and more of that, and more importantly, it's rather impossible to compare the changes, to see the changes between the versions. Okay, so a version control system that software developers use or programmers use basically provides you a system to do all this version control in a relatively easy way, and to make it easy to look back at the history of the changes. So let me actually get to this one, the one that we looked at already. This was the course that I did the last semester. And here I can come to this place, and it says 114 commits. Each commit is basically when you save a new version to this system. And so I can click here, and I can see all the history, all the changes. Now, in this case, in this specific project, let's call it, basically it was me doing all the changes, even though if you go back, you will see some of the other people, some of the students also participated and made a few changes, not many, okay? But there were a few changes that were made by students, okay? But I can come back here and let's say click here, this value, let me enlarge a little bit the font. So this value is the identification of that specific change. And it's important for the machine. For us, it's important that we can identify this change. And then I can click on it, and it will actually show me exactly what changed. So here, you can see basically the part of the file here. And then what you can see is that this part, the upper two lines here is in red. And you can also see a minus sign here. The problem is this interface that if I put the cursor, then it becomes a plus sign, though it's something different. But in this column, okay, so let's look at this column. You can see a minus sign and below there a plus sign. So the minus sign means, and the red color, if you can see red, okay, so it's green and red. In case you're colorblind, you probably don't see it, but at least there are the minus and plus signs. So the minus sign means that that thing was removed from the file, and the plus sign or green color means that that line was added. Now, it also has some more bolder green here, and it says done. Yeah, let me highlight it. Let me try to highlight. I don't know if I can. Well, I can't really. At the end where I put the cursor. This is basically showing that that word was added. So it's not that really this line was removed and this line was added. It was just the line was edited and I added this word here. Okay, so this is a huge value for programmers because you can look back the history of the changes you made to your program. But it can be also extremely valuable if you write some text. Okay, so you might write your thesis or some paper in a format that is supported by this system, and then you make these changes and then make these what we call commits. So basically, save the version, and then you can easily look back what changes you made, when did you make the change. You might even have some explanation why did you make that change. And if you're multiple people working on the same paper, on the same file, then you will be able to even see who made that change, which can be extremely useful in all kind of things, not just in programming. Okay, and that's actually one more thing when using this kind of version control is way more powerful than using the manual one, where you save the files 1, 2, 3, and so on, is that it allows cooperation between people. So it's very easy, and in programming world, it happens all the time, that there is a project and multiple people work on that project. And there are maybe tens or hundreds of files, and maybe there are tens of hundreds of people working on. And how can they cooperate between them? So this system, basically, the version control systems in general, help a lot of people cooperate in these projects. So that's why it's also extremely important to learn. And now I mentioned programmers and developers and whatever, and you probably think about yourself as a biologist or chemist or whatever science you're studying. But well, I have to say, you're going to be a programmer no matter what. Even if you are also a chemist, you'll write programs and then you're doing programming, even if your official title is not really a programmer. Okay, but you do this job, or part of the thing that you do will be here. Now, why is it even more important to learn about this? Is because basically every project, everything that you're going to use, every software you're going to use, a large percentage of the software you're going to use, definitely whatever you're going to use in Python, is somehow hosted on these systems. So let me jump a little bit to explain about Python, and then we get back to this. This will bring us back to this point. So Python is a programming language, python.org. I need to go. And this is the website, okay, where you can download Python from. And we are not downloading Python yet, okay? And Python is one of those technologies, in this case, a programming language, which is open source. So I have to talk a little bit about this open sourcing. When you write any program, you write it in some language. Let's say in Python or C or Java or whatever programming language you use. You write it in that language, but the computer doesn't understand that language. So you have to translate it to the computer, which we call it compilation. Okay, so we write in, let's say, Python, and then there is a program which we call it a compiler, which compiles this code into the language of the computer, and then it can run. You can run this program. Now, in some cases, what companies do, or in mostly companies, what they do is they write their code in whatever language they write it. They convert it compile it into this machine language, and then they give you this machine, the program itself that you can already run. But you can't get from that back the original code, which was written in whatever language, let's say C or C++ or whatever language it was written. So you have an executable, you can use it, but you can never see how it was written. And of course, in this way, these companies control whatever you can do. So if you encounter, let's say, a bug, or you don't like the color of a button of your application, or you would like to have a new feature, the only way you can do this is to go to the company, ask them to do it, and they either do it or not. They will charge you probably a lot of money for that, or they will never do it, but they have full control over it. Open source, on the other hand, is an idea and a method of software development where we distribute both the compiled, translated version of the file, of these programs, and the original versions, okay? So the source code, whatever we wrote in C, C++, or in Python. And we give you a license to make changes if you want. So this will give the users, in this case, you, a lot more power. So Python is one of these languages where this translator itself is open source. And we can actually come here somewhere, and I'll have to find it. I think if I click on the download, maybe, source code, I'll have to find it where it can be. Git, is there? No. Okay, I think I know where it is, so I don't have to find it there. Python/Python. Python. I think that's, no? Python. Okay, let's go here. Okay, so I just went to the website of GitHub again, and I typed in it's like the username I had. Okay, so if you go back, you'll remember that subgob, this is my username. Here, Python is not a username, it's called an organization, but basically the same idea. And then it has repositories, and this is the one I was looking for, CPython. Okay, so here, this is the source code of Python, basically. Okay, and so you could go here and understand how it works. What you can see here is there are 120,000 these changes, commits, that were throughout all the years. And we can go there and see actually people how they made changes. So if you have some problem with Python, okay, you can come here and deal with directly. I mean, if there is real problem with Python, not that you don't know how to do something, okay? You can come here and deal with the source itself. It's not like, I don't know, whatever, Microsoft Word or the Oracle database or all kind of software that you might use on your computer, Windows, the whole Windows system, right? So if you in Windows, the operating system, you would like to make some changes, you have to go to Microsoft and ask them, okay? Unless you can configure it, of course. Okay, but if you encounter a bug, well, that's on Microsoft to fix. Here, you theoretically or technically could go and even fix that issue. So this is Python. But what we are going to use is Python, the language, but we also use lots of extensions. So Python, the language, can do all kinds of things, but luckily to us, I don't know, millions of other Python programmers have written all kinds of software already that will be useful for us as building blocks to create our application. So even if you go just to your area, okay, of biology, there is a library called BioPython. Actually, it's a set of libraries, biopython.org, okay? This is their homepage that provides all kinds of tools in Python to help you write programs about biology, okay? So when we are going to write programs, and what we are going to learn about programming is we're going to learn Python, the programming language, to some extent, okay, very little actually, okay? You'll have to keep learning a lot later on. So we'll learn a little bit about Python, and we're going to learn a little bit about the extensions. One of them is BioPython, but I can actually show you pypi.org. This is basically the website of all the, what we call third-party libraries. Why WhatsApp is messaging me that it's whatever, it's turned off here, or I thought so. Anyway, sorry. So there is this website, pypi.org, and I'll put the links in the README file so you don't have to worry about that too much. Okay, so this website contains all the libraries, all the extensions. We call them third-party libraries or modules or packages or whatever name you can find. But basically, these are extensions to Python. And some of them are really small. Some of them are huge, like BioPython, and they are all live here. Right now, there are 529,000 of these, okay? So an enormous number. And each one of them, or most of them, are open source, okay? And one of them is this BioPython. So how is it related to all the GitHub thing? So let's say you start using this BioPython library, and there is a function, and you have some issue with that function, okay? You tried it, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work the correct way. You see that there is a bug in it. So what can you do? Well, you go to the website of BioPython, if I manage to click on it, let's say, and then you go to, it has a link to the GitHub project, okay? So this is their website, but this is the GitHub project. So this is where they are hosting the BioPython project. So you have a problem now, okay? All the problems, all the bugs, all the feature requests are listed under this thing that's called issues. So on GitHub, for every project, and now we are talking about in the BioPython user, we are talking about the BioPython project. For this project, there have issues, okay? Issues are basically lists of reports people wrote that something is not working, or I would like something to work in a different way, or please add the feature for this, okay? Let's say you have a file where you store sequences, okay? And BioPython supports most of the common formats that are there storing sequences. But let's say you find a new format, okay? Or you create a new format, let's say, okay, whatever, that BioPython doesn't support yet, and you want it to support. So, well, the first thing you would do probably is come to this BioPython GitHub project, go to the issues, click on new issue, and explain what you would like to do, okay? What you would like to do or what you would like to have, okay? It's not even, it doesn't even mean that you're going to do it, okay? It just means that you're complaining about something, or you are suggesting something, or you are whatever, okay? So these issues, now we can go over all, look at these issues. You can just click here, new issue, and then fill out the title. You already have some text here because they explain to you usually in many of these projects what kind of information you should provide in addition to your explanation of your issue, okay, of the bug or the feature request. So, for example, they say that they would like to know what is the version of your operating system. Do you use Linux, Windows, Mac, what? Which version of Python you're using, which version of BioPython you used, because maybe the problem you're encountering is specific to one version of BioPython, or it's specific to Windows or whatever. So they will have to know all these things, okay? And you can remove this or replace this and then add your information and so on. Now, I'm not going to file a new issue, so I'm going back. But we're going to look at an issue or a couple of issues here, okay? So, for example, this one. On the left-hand side, wait a second. On the right-hand side here, you can see how many comments were made on the issue. So, for example, this one, let's have some fun together. I have no idea what is this, okay? I'm not going to click on this one but probably it's something to play with BioPython, but still, it's a course. So this one, phylogenetic analytics, it doesn't have any comment on it. Okay, so let's click on it. Okay, it has some explanation. I have no idea what they are talking about. Hopefully they do, and the developers of BioPython know. Here, there's another one, fail to read cell files. Okay, so cell is probably, again, I have no idea what it means. Okay, very specific thing. But there is an explanation of what they try to do, and then there are the comments. Okay, so either other people who are using BioPython and looking at this project start comment on it, or people who develop this project start comment on it, and then there's a discussion. And at one point, this thing is done. It's implemented, fixed. The person got an answer. Maybe the problem wasn't actually in BioPython. It was actually the way the person used it, or I don't know, whatever. Maybe they were using an old version of BioPython, and in this way they found it out, and then they upgraded BioPython, and the problem went away. In any case, once an issue is done, they mark it as closed, and here you can see that actually in this one there are 436 open issues, so issues that haven't been closed yet. Okay, it's still some work to do, and 1,202 closed. And we can click on that, and you can also see this. Okay, and you can see here lots of discussion and tons of things that you can do. Okay, so okay, let me step back again and explain why is it important to you, all this nonsense that I'm talking right now. In order to write program, okay, you will use GitHub. You start using it, you start writing your own problem, it's for yourself, whatever. At one point, maybe someone else from the lab will want to make some changes. So there you already can start to see the usefulness of this. But even if that doesn't happen, you will use a lot of these libraries from PyPI, BioPython or other things, you'll use it. And then you'll encounter issues, okay? And now you have to deal with these issues somehow. And this is the reason I'm explaining it this, so you can see how you can deal with these issues. Besides, part of the course will be that you're going to open issues on our project, so it's better that you know what is this about. Okay, so this is the main part that might be interesting to you at this point. There are also, I mentioned this now, there are also something called pull requests. And here I have to address something before that. So I mentioned that you can download these open source projects and you can make changes to them. And that usually slightly freaks out people, because what does it mean that I'm going to make changes to BioPython? And how can other people know that my changes were good or not? So the thing is that you can make changes to your BioPython project locally, not in this central place. Okay? In the central place, only the developers of BioPython, the official developers of BioPython, or not official, let's call it the approved developers of BioPython, can make changes. If you or I, okay, for that matter, want to make changes, then what we need to do is make some copy of the BioPython project, make the changes to my copy, and then send the change to the BioPython project. And basically the terminology they use is that I'm sending a pull request. Basically, I'm asking them to integrate the changes I made into BioPython. Okay, and actually, if I click on this, so you can see here, there are 121 of these pull requests. So people making changes and offering the BioPython project to please integrate it. And then the BioPython people, the approved developers, can decide whether this is a good change or bad change. They will ask you all kinds of things. There are also almost 3,000 of these pull requests that are already closed. So they either were accepted and integrated into BioPython, or they were rejected, saying, okay, no, this is not what we're going to do. Now, let me try to see if, I don't know if it's here. No. Let me go to another project here, BioPython. Yeah. So this project, okay, sorry, let me explain. I went back to the main site of the BioPython project on GitHub, and then instead of the source code of BioPython, I picked up another project, which is called, which is, as you can see, the source of the BioPython org website. Let me get it back. Source of the BioPython org website. So this is the website of BioPython. And here, if I recall, and I go to the pull requests, and I type in author subgub. Yes, okay. So this way, what I've said is I'm looking for a pull request. I didn't say if it's open or closed. I knew actually it was closed. And that the author who sent the pull request is my username, subgub. This happened actually in the previous session of this course, or the previous iteration of this course last semester. Then I was showing the BioPython website, and there was a typo in it, okay? And so live, we managed to fix this, okay? So let me also show this a little bit. So this is the fixed typo. And I can come here and show you what were the changes made. So there was a typo. You say January. And it was just a fix of this typo. Very small thing. I made this change, and I think within a few minutes, if I remember correctly, so I think within the same day, it was accepted, integrated in the website, and that's it. Not a big deal. Okay. It's just showing what I was. It was a very lucky thing that I could show it live to the previous class. It's actually on the videos, so you can see it. Here you can see, by the way, this person called Peter JC who commented on this, and then someone else approved it, and then whoever the same person also integrated into the main repository of BioPython. So it's not that I made changes to the website. I offered the change, and they accepted, and they integrated those changes. Okay, what time is it? Oh, 42. Let me think of short. Any questions? Okay. Drinking and thinking of what else to show you before we go to a break. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, then shoot. I forgot to stop to ask you if you have any questions earlier. So either you or ran away already, or you don't have any questions. Or you're, I don't know, you don't hear me anymore. Okay. So let me get back to this, because, and then next R, we're going to do something actually with this. No, here. I wanted to go back here. So it says this repository, okay, it's called biopython.github.io. And it says that this is the website, the source of the biopython.org website. So this in the next session, what we are going to do is we are going to build our own website. Each one of you is going to be to build his or her own website. This thing, biopython.github.io, is the default address of the website. Okay, they are just using the biopython.org as a user, as an interface, as a whatever, as a nicer address. Okay, but this is basically the address behind it. Okay, so GitHub, this website, provides us what they call GitHub pages, and each user and each organization can have his, her, or their whatever GitHub pages, which is just a website, a very simple website. And you know what? Instead of going through this, I'm going to have a break. What I'm going to show you is that this was the last. This is the page of the previous course on the previous semester, and here you can see the names of the people who participated, and each link leads to the person's page that they created. So now I clicked on this person, and this is the website I think she created. And then Daphne, about Daphne, I know that is she. Created another website. Okay, they use the same layout. This is one of the sort of default layouts. Who else do we have? Doreen. Okay, this is simpler. Who was Guy was creating? Yeah, Guy. Oh, they changed it since then, I think. Okay, so this is nicer. So you can Maya. Let's see what Maya did. Okay, another one. Okay, so you're going to create your own website. Basically, this is going to be the first assignment. I'm going to show you obviously how and what, and that's going to be in the next session. And then that's it. So let's have I don't know, 10 minutes break now. What time is it? Oh, 45. Okay, 10 minutes break. At 55 we continue. Okay, goodbye in the meantime.